Welcome to the program. This is Politics Spotlight. The federal government and academic staff union of University ASUU has been at loggerheads since 2009. Over that period, promises and agreements were made but broken, and Nigeria university education that used to be bustling and bubbling has become the ghost of its former self. With about 52 days to the 2023 general election, spontaneous widespread of hunger and nuts for the federal government and ASUU has strayed ASUU's decision to extend its 7-month-old strike, which began in 14th February 2002. Meanwhile, the back and forth between the federal government and ASUU seems far from over. This is because ASUU, through its counsel, Mr. Femi Falana, has appealed the ruling of the National Industrial Court, which ordered the striking union to call off the ongoing strike. While ASUU industrial action has continued to take a toll on the nation's education, especially the tertiary education, which has been altered for over 7 months. The National Association of Nigerian Students, through its National Task Force chairman, has insisted that there will be no political campaign, and they vowed to shut down the country until the federal government accedes to the ASUU's demand. Well, on Politics Spotlight today, we want to examine the socio-economic influence of the 7-month-old strike of ASUU on Nigeria. And on the program here with me today, two gentlemen here. I have Barrister Kayode Odoye, who is a stalwart of APC, PDP, from Osun State. And of course, I have another stalwart of APC from Ekiti State, Honorable Ibirinde Folo. And of course, joining through Zoom is the ASUU chairman of University of Ibadan, Comrade Ayo Akinwole, and I'm additional online awaju. The conversation begins in a moment. Perhaps you are just joining us. This is Politics Spotlight, and of course today we are looking at the socioeconomic influence of the 7-month-old strike of ASUU. And of course, joining me on the program today is Barrister Odoye of the PDP in Osun State, and of course Honorable Ibirinde Folo of the APC from Ekiti State, and of course. Joining through Zoom is Comrade Ayo Akinwole. Ayo Akinwole is the ASUU chairman of University of Ibadan. Let's start this conversation from Comrade Ayo. Comrade Ayo, you've been at home for 7 good months without salary. Can you give us how it has been, and can you give us also give us an update of the appeal the counsel to ASUU, Mr. Femi Falana did on behalf of ASUU?
Well, thank you very much. I have a plea to make to the two.
Comrade, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Can you hear me? I can hear you clearly. Hello?
Yes, let me throw the question at you again. You've been at home. Of course, you've been off duty for 7 months without salary. How has it been? How has the experience of not receiving salary for 7 months been? And also, we want you to give us an update about the NIC case, which you appealed in the Court of Appeal. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly. I said, before going ahead to answer your question, I want to make a plea to the two gentlemen there. Let us avoid politics in this discussion because ordinary days, I mean, ASUU does not want to be dragged into the political discussion with respect to our acts. So I would please let us look at the issues objectively without sentiment or personalism. Yes, to go straight to your question, first, it's not been easy to be without salary the last 7 months, but it's something we emphasize before going on strike. We know the government of today will want to come out of the union. So our members with the option is either go through these challenges and have our university system set back on track, or we stay there and hold our arms patriots and watch things decay to a level where it will not be easy to rebuild again. So it's a sacrifice. Our members weighed the options and we came to terms with the fact that doing nothing is not a very good alternative for the future of this country. That is that. Well, to clarify, the work of an academic is into three parts. Research is fundamental, community development, and teaching through supervision of students. So what has been affected with the strike is the teaching and direct interaction with students. The two other components are ongoing. And as you can see, I'm in the office now. So it is. If you go to most universities, you see people in their offices. I've been to the fish farm. I'm a professor of aquaculture engineering and water resources management. So I'm a lecturer in the Department of Fish. I've been to the fish farm to attend to my fish. I do that every day. If I have to travel, my children have to come in to assist because students are not on grant. So all other aspects of our work keep going on. The teaching aspect and interaction with students has been suspended due to the strike. That answer first part. Then the other part with respect to the court case. Well, it's unfortunate the people, representative of government or the ministers, seem to view things from the perspective of equity. Because if they are to look at it objectively, that case shouldn't have arisen at all. Because our interaction with them on the dispute has not gotten to a stage of transmitting it to the industrial court. And you all agree with me, if that was to be a good decision, would the same minister that transmit the case to the industrial court come up last week to say government did not take us to court. So I don't want to be confused about what we have seen in the last 7 months is that they are seeing this as an ego fight in council. And we have nothing to talk with anybody other than the university system. Because unfortunately, I think as a personal fight and ego problem with the
all right. Well, okay.
The objection, let me finish. The objection that our lawyer during the proceeding was disregarded by the preliminary objection to the jurisdiction of that court in hearing the case was never allowed to be discussed. And that's a fundamental flaw. Thank God we have a barrister in the studio, and I hope whatever he will say, we should leave politics out of it. By virtue of the Trade Dispute Act, the NIC is not supposed to be the court of first instance. It is after the dispute resolution has failed at the industrial arbitration panel, which the minister has not done so. There is no report from a mediator to him that dispute has failed. And you and I will know that there are other discussions going on at various levels of government with our union. So in the first instance, that case ought not to have come to be. But whatever it is, in the wisdom of the learned judge, he decided not to hear ASUU's preliminary objection to the case, or to even the jurisdiction of the court to hear the case in the first instance. That is one. So on the basis of that, our union, through our lawyer, have exercised our right, fundamental right under the law, to appeal the injunction.
All right.
Hoping that reasoning will prevail and people will do things according to the law. The Trade Dispute Act is very clear. Is in the public domain. Anybody can go through it and read it and interpret.
All right.
the dispute between us and federal government has not gotten to a level where it will be subjected to court, like the industrial court as at now. So on that basis, we have appealed the judgment that even at that, so that I will take it up. Ordinarily, this ought to have been done if all the various stages of mediating, finding a reconciliation has failed. Not 7 months after the strike has been enforced. It's just putting, it's like walking upside down. The way our union is, and we have appealed that injunction, open reasoning will prevail, and then we'll get out of this problem as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right, we are still going to talk about the issue or the case of representation, but let me quickly throw it to you before I bring the conversation back to the studio here. You've gone to the appeal court to appeal. Do you think victory is ascertained as you approach the appeal court? And if you fail at the appeal court, what is the next thing you think the union will do?
Well, whatever the case may be, we are an optimistic union. We don't view failure. We will not fail. Even at now, this strike has not failed, because if it has raised the consciousness of the people towards certain views, especially the want of disregard for the rule of law by the political class or the ruling class at its work, the strike has achieved a lot. So failure is not something we are looking at.
Okay.
We have exercised our rights and will not preempt what will happen at the appeal. Whatever happens, when the circumstances come, we'll take an holistic assessment of the situation then and take the next decision.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's bring the conversation to the studio. I'm going to start with Barrister first. Yes, because this is a legal thing. What are your worries as the federal government seek court settlement to the agreement they made with ASUU since 2009? What are your worries? Do you think the NIC handled the case correctly, legally?
Well, thank you for the opportunity that we have to look at this, as much as the time is short, but at least holistically. The truth about it is the approach adopted by the federal government is not helping in this matter. We need to look at Nigeria as a country, as an entity that belongs to all of us. ASUU is not a stranger. It's a body representing a segment of the Nigerian people who are also helping to build a nation. So if this is the aim of ASUU, if this is what ASUU as a body is set out to do, then frustratingly, if there are agreements between the two parties and your approach is not encouraging to resolve or to finding a last solution to a lingering matter, you can't approach the court. You are treating ASUU as if ASUU is not, the entities are not Nigerians. So is the approach from the federal government that is wrong? There's no need approaching the court in this. All we need to do is come back to the table, look at the content and fragments of that particular agreement as it was reached before, and the ones you have reached with them now. Government is a continuum. And what ASUU wants now, what I can see from all this, is there is an absolute mistrust in this. There's no trust, there's no confidence from the end of ASUU towards the government, because they've not seen the government exhibit or show any signs of honesty or sincerity or commitment to getting this done. And whether you can't take ASUU, they are human beings, they are part of us. They are fathers, they are uncles, they are brothers, they are relations. They live in the same society like other people are complaining about how things are presently. So the approach of the federal government going to the court is just further muddling, messing things up, and as if you just want to kill a fly with a sledgehammer. If you end up getting a judgment in your favor and you get ASUU back to school, to classes,
by force.
Yes, by force, you will not get the best out of them. And don't forget, ASUU is a very vital part of the growing nation, segment of this economy that is building a growing nation. Are we saying we don't want to grow anymore? What is the hope of the future of the kids coming behind? Even those who are there now. So that's why I said, for me, it's about the approach. It's about the attitude. It's about the trust, the mistrust.
All right. Let's bring this to Honorable Brende. Honorable Brende, at the moment, political activities is almost kickstarting very soon. the students said there would be no political campaign anywhere in the country and they are ready to shut down the economy. What are your worries? And the ongoing face-off between ASUU and federal government, what influence does it have on the socio-economic and even political party in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers. I would like to start from the fear expressed by the comrade, the ASUU chairman of my university, University of Ibadan, to the extent that we should leave politics out of this. I think that is not being fair to the cause they are even pursuing, because ASUU itself is a political organization. Yes, they will say ASUU is a pressure group, but everything revolves around politics, the interests of your members. And I will equally want to point this out, that there are three parties to this dispute: the lecturers, the government, and the students. Once there is a dispute of this nature for 7 months, and there seems not to be end in sight, the judiciary is the arbiter, is the next buster, is the next point of call. I'm surprised that my colleague here, a lawyer, will disagree with government, by approaching the courts. Once there is a dispute,
it was the court that approached. It was the government that approached the court.
Yes, that is the next thing. Once there is a dispute, or there are disputes among parties, and nobody seems to be ready to lower the gap for the other, court is the necessary end, because that is the hope of the common man, and in this instance, the students and the parents, they are the ones suffering this, because at the end of the day, ASUU will still be paid for doing nothing. And government itself, of course, we have seen in the recent time that the president of ASUU, his daughter just graduated from American University. So, of course, we've seen politicians, children abroad, and the rest of them. So, they are not even the major. They, at the end of the day, they are the beneficiaries of this crisis. So, the common man, the children of the less privileged, the poor, that have been kept home for 7 months, they need the courts to intervene to protect their own interests also. So, to me, I don't think what government has done is bad, because that is the hope, that is the next stage, because they are not ready to bend, and government also. And of course, maybe in the course of this discussion, we'll be able to go into even the other aspect of it, where ASUU members themselves are not even helping the system, they are not helping the nation. At any slighted provocation,
ASUU go on strike.
ASUU go on strike, doctors go on strike, no nation develops that way. We are all critical stakeholders. They should allow everybody come back to the table. I agree on that. But the court has to stop them first and allow the system to run, so that discussion will continue. There is no end to this, because no government can meet up with all the demands.
All right. Let me allow
of these unions.
Let me allow Dr. Comrade. Let me allow you to respond to what Honorable Folu said. What's your take on his point of view? He said ASUU has not. He said federal government has not done anything wrong by taking the matter to court.
Well, he got it wrong, and despite my plea, that we remove politics out of it, that bill has not been granted. But that's okay. They are entitled to their opinion. But the fact remains that this is a public table, and we should try and get information that are facts. Because the first thing is that, despite the fact that the union has come out to show evidence that the lies, wherever that is coming from, I don't know, but I don't expect the honorable to come here and repeat the same fabrication against the president that the daughter of our president graduated. Our president has no daughter. All his children are male. So how would somebody that has no daughter has, and then the family of the lady whose picture was used to misinform the public has come out 3 days ago to say this is the picture of my daughter that graduated. Why should they be giving it another name? So it's part of government propaganda to discredit our union. And I don't think a government that means well need to do that.
All right.
On the contrary to what the Honorable has said, that ASUU is political and all that it has failed, that is the problem. The government wants to use every other means to force ASUU to become slave laborers, and we will not accept that at all. ASUU is not political. He's saying discussion has failed. If discussion has failed, why are representatives of the people still meeting with us? Why did Ngige said government did not take ASUU to court? So we have a bond of confusion. Confusion is in power. I don't want to, it is better we say the truth the way it is. The issue is that government did nothing tangible between February and now. And a government has set up a panel led by Mimi Briggs to negotiate with us on their behalf. Remember, earlier in March, the union refused to meet with any committee of government because the last two committees that were set up, their recommendation that was jointly agreed to was discarded by this same government. Right. And let's not refer to the past government. Because the very first memorandum of understanding signed with ASUU by this government was signed by Honorable Chris Ngige on behalf of this government in September 2017. And it is from that we are taking it. From 2017 to now, this government has not been sincere. You set up a committee when they knew they were not going to take whatever comes out of that interaction. And that was clearly proven by the last committee headed by Mini Briggs, that it has never happened in the history of governance that a committee set up to represent government will go into the newspaper and take an advertorial to debunk all the lies from the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Labour. It's not unfortunate that we have been there with this kind of human beings at the affairs of the nation. Let them for one tell the truth. You can't come to the public domain and be lying to the people. It's unfair on the people of this country. So it's not a matter of both parties did not agree or both parties did not pay. There are rules and regulations. The Trade Goodies Act that they have just taken as an exception to now go to court specifies procedures for resolving trade disputes. And let me correct one notion. The Honorable said this dispute is between three parties. No. The contract between ASUU members exists with the government. Government is the employer, we are employees. And the Trade Dispute Act is clear. When there are disputes between an employee and employer, those are the procedures that need to be signed, that need to be followed. And let me also clarify one thing. The concept of collective bargaining agreement dates back 1981 during the regime of President Shehu Shagari. That was when Nigeria subscribed to collective bargaining agreement as a way of resolving any labor matter in the university. So we cannot, government is a continuum like we all know, we cannot just come and say, because this is not what we agree upon. This government has not come to the table with anything tangible. They are just playing for time, thinking they can embarrass and railroad ASUU into succumbing. Also to add up to it is that a government that decides to release the weapon of hunger upon its people. What is the motive of that government? The strike was declared on the 14th of February 2022, and the 22nd of February, the Minister of Labour transmitted a letter to stop the salaries of our members. That is against all laid down rules and laws of this land. So we have a government that has a pretense for disobeying the law. Now remembering there is a court for them to hide under. It is injustice and it is tyranny. Our union will not succumb to that, come what may. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to bring, I'm going to Barrister. Barrister, you are the legal person here. You've heard what the ASUU chairman of ASUU, Comrade, has said. What are the worries of, you are also a political stakeholder, what are the worries of politicians as we prepare for 2023 general election? And ASUU said there's no going back. Number one, they said there's no going back. The students said they are ready to shut down the economy. And you know that politicians, the 2023 general election is their topmost agenda now.
Mm-hmm.
What are your worries? How can we begin to correct things in this matter?
Well, thank you. I think any politician, as a Nigerian, who has value for education, who knows that the growth and the progress of this country, for us to even enjoy peace across all strata and development, education is the pivot to it. Mm. So, any reasonable politician who is interested in going into government for the sole purpose of serving the people will definitely take this as a major concern. I was educated. I'm still being educated because it is a continuum till when you die. And I know the impact of this not only on our children, but even on the society. So the reality and the truth that we have right now is, as it is bearing a massive, massive burden on the society, even the economy is also feeling it as well. Mm. You are talking about not thousands now, millions of our children, of our wards across this country, home, doing nothing. Their sensitive minds are not engaged. Their hands are made feeble. And these are youth. Please, what is the hope of this nation? What is the hope of the future? So, in as much as we're concerned because we have another electoral calendar that is out, we're looking towards 2023, this matter should not be left until we go into elections. It should not be, like I said, the reason why we're having this problem, let the approach of the government be different. Get out of court. These are Nigerians. ASUU is a major stakeholder. This is education we're talking about. If you have value for it, you know without it you can't build a stable, viral, productive economy and future. And you don't want this country to go into absolute collapse. Right now we're on a serious collapse. So the truth about it is government must first and foremost change her approach to handling this matter. 1. 2, those things that were agreed on, they were not forced on them. And because we're not forced on them, we're all Nigerians, how do you go about implementing this? Not just making promises and sign things. Show first and foremost by what we call partial performance. Do something and let these people, they're also suffering, but like Comrade said, they made up their mind that this is going to be part of their sacrifice as a stakeholder in this country. They've watched, they've listened to so many pleas in the past. None has worked because they've been taken for granted. That's why I said the issue of trust came in. So what we need to do now is to appeal to the government. Please change your approach. If you can change your approach, ASUU is always ready to dialogue. If ASUU wasn't ready to dialogue, ASUU will not come to the table.
All right. Okay, thank you. So before I bring the conversation back to Dr. Ayo, Honorable, what are your worries? The students, they vowed that they are going to shut down the economy and they will stop any campaign processes, all because the federal government and the ASUU, they are at login. What are your worries? And what's considering the influence that the ongoing FaceOff had brought, what are your worries? Putting those considerations in place.
Yes, I completely agree. I'm upfront with my colleague here that any reasonable politician or stakeholders, with due respect to Prof, who is averse to introducing political dimension to the discourse, I do not encourage the federal government insensitivity to the issue of this strike. I do not support that. I believe that ASUU demands should be addressed in a concrete terms. How to address it should be the major concern. They are not making any demand that is out of this world, that is outrageous. But government may not have the resources to be able to meet up with all of their demands. They should sit down with them and stagger the implementation That to me is the way to go.
All right.
That they are asking for improved welfare. Whether we deny or we do not deny, both from the political end and the ASUU members, we all have our wards all over the world. So it is not a crime to send your wards to anywhere, to any university of your choice if you can afford it. But the bottom line is that we must allow this country to function.
All right.
I think this is one area as a politician that I would not give federal government a pass mark on this. Because as a father of all, I said there are three parties. Even though the students are not party to the dispute, but the truth of the matter is that they are the one bearing the brunt. That was the point I was trying to make. In addressing this, federal government should sit back with these people. Whatsoever you can attend to now in view of the paucity of fund and the state of our economy.
Yes.
Itemize it, and then and lay everything bare to the general populace to be able to see that out of their demands, 70% is what we can achieve now. Then we will be able to address these other ones, and then those ones that you cannot address, you leave for next government. You state it and allow everybody to have proper information about what is happening.
The Minister of Labour,
yes,
at one time,
yes,
met with the management of ASUU.
Yes.
At one time, the Minister of Education, Adamu, met with ASUU, met with the Council of Pro-Chancellors and Vice-Chancellors.
Yes.
At one time, ASUU's proposal was taken to Mr. President, and Mr. President gave a promise that he was going to go through their proposal and get back to them. It was in the process of waiting for the reply of Mr. President that the federal government, through the Ministry of Labour, took this matter to the NIC.
Yes.
What can you, from this scenario I've painted, what's your take on that?
Yes.
Do you think that ASUU they are still waiting for Mr. President to give them a feedback? And of course, between we say Jack Robinson, they find themselves in the court. And even the Ministry of Labour, they are still insisting that they never took ASUU to court. Do you think they should be taking for, the ASUU should take the federal government through the Ministry of Labour as a serious entity?
Yes, I think the major problem here, which I will advise the leadership of ASUU to address, is that the role of the governing council of each of these institutions, in one breath, I remember some years ago, part of the demand of ASUU was total autonomy of the universities. And then they have governing council, and that council is supposed to be the highest organ of management of each of these institutions. Now, what is the role? What are they doing about this crisis? I think they should go back to that demand. Governing council should be the final bus stop as per the runnings of the university and the welfare of their workers. So that the issue of running to federal government at every turn of events, I don't think it is proper. And I think that is where the problem lies. But in the immediate, I will advise federal government to return to negotiation table, like he gave two weeks ultimatum to the Minister of Education the other time. I don't know why the president will renege on that. If you give a directive of 2 weeks, it means that you are ready to bear the consequence of the 2 weeks. If it is money, put down the money, pay their 7 months salary,
all right,
and allow every party to return to the table, okay, and then re-energize and invigorate the governing councils, right, and allow autonomy of these institutions so that whatsoever they are generating to be able to service the issue of these institutions, right, without bringing all of them, back under the same umbrella and making it difficult for federal government to be able to manage.
All right. Okay. I'm going to take the conversation back to Comrade. Comrade, want you to educate us on the issue of award. The federal government, through the Ministry of Labor, said they awarded certain percentage. ASUU said they are considering offer. Can you please educate us on the concept of negotiation, award, and offer as this matter is concerned?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I'm happy the Honorable also said the demands of ASUU are not out of ordinary. But it's the major problem we have is sincerity of purpose. When you have a government that is not sincere with its people, that's the kind of thing we have. Because what predicated this strike was an agreement reached with the union in 2020 with timeline that these issues are going to be resolved with timeline January, what will be done in January 2021, what will be done in February, up to June. But let me tell Nigeria, it is not everything in our agreement that needs financial backing or that needs financial disbursement. The issue of the visitation panel report, it is a lawful and entrenched in the law established university that government set up a visitation panel to every university every 5 years to evaluate how those universities have been run by the governing council that is also set up by the same government. It took ASUU strike of 2020 for government to wake up from their slumbers after 11 years of doing that. Must we go on strike before government wake up to their responsibility? By that same procedure, the report of the senior panel ought to have been released to respective universities and to the public 3 months after the panels have completed their assignment. The panel went to the universities June, July last year. Up to this morning, government has not released the report of those panels. What is government afraid of? And he talked about governing councils. Governing councils are appointees of government. There are representatives of internal of 4 from the Senate. But majority of the members are appointees of government, take instruction from government. So it is this same government that is bastardizing the autonomy of the university. Then look at the letter that came to the public yesterday. I mean, what insult can you imagine that a director of finance and account giving that to the vice chancellor, pro council on behalf of the NUC executive secretary? So the executive secretary is so busy that he cannot sign a letter giving directive to university. These are the kind of bastardization that we have seen with the way government operates university. The government, the autonomy was signed, government itself bastardized the autonomy of the university. Anybody can just send message to the vice chancellor, please come to Abuja for something. And while they are there, another person will send another memo. And we are saying, let these vice chancellors stay in their schools and run the universities on behalf of the governing council who are appointees of government. So there are things in place to checkmate fraud and excesses. But it is this same government functionaries that are not allowed things to work. I told you the concept of collective bargaining was entrenched way back 1981. Universities don't receive, you give an award to slaves. We are not slaves and will not take an award from anybody. We are supposed to come to the table, discuss and negotiate and renegotiate. That is what should be done. And that's what this government made us to believe they are doing when they set up the Olympic committee in March. But lo and behold, the same government that set up the committee to negotiate on their behalf threw away the report. That committee, you look at all the 7 issues we placed before government way back 2017, and that's why we are still on strike up till now. If the government is going to set up a committee and they know that they are not going to do anything with the report of that committee, why waste the people's money? These committees will be paid their allowances, they will be housed in hotels, they will transport themselves from their various locations to Abuja to meet with the various universities. Why would government go and waste the people's money when they knew they are just going to give an award? They could have done that in February and will have resolved the issue once and for all. Our union will not take any award from anybody. Even if the award they are giving is far, far beyond what is recommended, we hand negotiated salary. And that is on that principle, we must do everything on the table. Even when nations go to war, wars don't end on the battlefield. They still end at the negotiation table. So why is government afraid of concluding the negotiation when they knew they were going to give an award? So that is clear. our union will not take any award from anybody, and because we are not slaves. You only slaves to give things to take it or leave it, and we won't operate that way. The earlier government knows they are not dealing with slaves, the better for the resolution of this crisis.
Comrade, let me remind you that the representation of the Labour Minister and the Education Minister, they are representation of the federal government, which you had logged with. Why do you seems not obeying, or not, how will I put it? You seems not giving credence to the representation of these two bodies. And it seems your body language says that it is a compulsion that it's only the president that can solve this ongoing face-off. But what do you have to say with that?
So, contrary to that, for the same government, that came to the public domain, inaugurated a committee to discuss with the union on behalf of the federal government.
Yeah.
And that committee makes sure they have representative of all relevant agencies, Ministry of Labour, National Salary, Incomes and Wages Commission, NUC, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Finance, they all have representatives. So why would a government set up a committee, allow the committee to meet with unions for 4 months, only to start the recommendation from that committee? That's what we are saying. Government is not discussing with us or dealing with us in good faith. If they knew they had a mindset that go to accept the outcome of that committee, why set it up in the first instance? It's not to say that if the government said go and discuss with the Minister of Education, who agree. What matters is for government to be faithful with whatever comes out of it. And let me tell you that committee did not unilaterally fix anything. They go back and forth to their principal before putting anything on the table.
All right.
Now the report is ready, government threw it away.
All right.
Nobody does that in his
So do you think, because it seems like the body language of ASUU seems like a meeting with the president. Do you think, or is that your body language? And do you think meeting the president will solve this matter? And if you eventually meet with the president and he says, go up, like the promises that have been made that you have to go and open the university, now you have to go back to work and make promises that, like it has been said, 25%, 35%, 150 billion naira, another 50 billion naira. That such promises have been made on in the 2023 budget. If the president insinuated that and order the strike you to go back to the class, would you accept such from Mr. President, having gained the
president? We are not interested in meeting the president. What we are interested in is getting the issues resolved. Right. The president doesn't have to meet us physically. Right. But the same president,
government representation or representative has been meeting you with you, and you seems not respecting or obeying.
They have been meeting us with the Why would the same government that set up a committee discard the recommendation from the same committee? That is what they are not sincere with it. And like I said, there was a time the ministry during the Salah thing that the president said as to go back to work. We don't take directly for strike from the president of the nation. We have our vote of autograph in declaring and suspending strike. ASUU is a local organization. We know where our right ends and where it begins. Right. So it is not for the president to give each other. Now, talking about promises, this government has made a lot of promises from 2017 to the same union, and they have failed in their promises. Right. The era of promises is over. Right. The era of implementation. Let me give you an example. The same government that promised they will incorporate the hand allowance to the 2022 budget. Did nothing throughout 2021. They are making the same promises. Right. The same government that said they don't have money, that they will release 150 billion for revitalization of university. June 2023, when the government would have been out of power. I mean, who does that? But that same government has time and resources to earmark over 300 billion naira for 2023 election in February. All right. The same government has money to bail out the airline industry. what matters to politicians, what matters to people in power is what concerns them. When it concerns the average masses, that's when they don't have money.
All right.
And we are saying that line of thought must change.
All right.
There must be respect for the rule of law, there must be respect for the citizens of this country. That is what the government should stand to do.
Comrade, you've been at this login with the federal government for about 7 months, and the federal government has given their word that there's going to be a 25%, a 35%, a 150 billion naira, another 50 billion naira. Don't you think this is an accomplishment of your struggle and more reason for you to accept what the federal government is bringing to you now, considering the students who have been out and they are vowed to shut down the economy? Don't you think it is enough for you to go back to class with this offer? All right, while we allow a doctor to, comrade, to make a response to that. Are you there? Can you hear me? All right.
I can hear you now.
All right, response.
The government quickly. 2 years ago, they did nothing.
All right.
That's what I'm telling you. They cannot be trusted. That's what the matter. The government said they will release 150 billion in June 2023.
All right.
All right. So with the same government, by that government ought to have, they will hand over to the new government, whatever party that will come into the matter. Okay. Governance will continue. But you cannot make a promise 2 years ago and fail. You expect us to believe you this year again. That's what Nigeria is saying. Where the same government got over 300 billion and 50 billion, 305 billion naira for elections in February. Where did they get over $400 million to bail out the airline industry? It is only when it comes to education that they will now postpone. Right. Era of postponement is over. And the issue of having 25%, 60,000 naira hardship is an insult. Right. It's an insult. Like I said, way back 2081, it has been established by law. Right. Whatever we have in the universities, all been negotiated, not an award.
Comrade, thank you so much. We have to be wrapping up to Coastal. Let me bring the conversation back to the studio. Barrister, do you think the federal government has not done enough, considering the promises they made? 150 billion, 50 billion, 25%, 35% increase in allowances. I think they've done their best or their bits. What do you think?
Well, candidly, like I did say before, if you look at this situation holistically, you will be able to see and understand clearly that there's a loss of confidence. ASUU will never trust this government, this particular administration, because of multiple promises that did not kept. So we now see now that the issue of integrity is coming to place. That's why I said, look, this issue, the approach itself that federal government has adopted is even wrong. So change their approach. Come back to the same table where you were calling ASUU to. And at each point you called them, they responded. Bring them back to the table. And when they are coming to the table, there must be a part performance of this agreement. If you don't do that, it's going to be a tall order. For them to also come again and listen to promises and go. Just like you had Comrade analyzed, the reality of it is promises that you're telling them now, the performance of it is not incumbent on this present administration. It's on the incoming one. So you are preparing a burden that is not solved. So that's why, listen, we're talking to, and we're dealing with people who are highly intelligent, who form, shape, and define destinies and nations. And all you have to do is just to bring cheap talk to the table and walk away. It's an insult to them, even insult to the generations that they represent. So the reality of the matter is, you need to approach this matter with clear sincerity of purpose and performance. Anything else outside that, I don't think, you can see we've gone to this point. And for them to have been dragged to this point, that means it's more like a point of no return. But they must return for the sake of the country. And if they're going to do that, if this government can prepare and make sacrifice and put funds together and attend to other things, then let it be shown to the whole world that education is important to us. But what I can see here is you value what you cherish. If this government values education, then they must demonstrate performance in this agreement they have made that they cherish it.
All right, in 1 minute, as we begin to Coastal, Honorable, 1 minute, what's your take? What is the way forward?
Yes, way forward. I believe and I know that ASUU may no longer have confidence in promises, just like they didn't have with previous governments. It's not peculiar to this government. It has been a perennial crisis. There must be an end to it. But in the immediate, I would suggest that federal government should first clear their 7-month salary and then release fund in the immediate to attend to those, their demand should be prioritized. Release funds in the immediate to solve those critical ones so that students can return. And I believe that can be done within the next 2-3 weeks. It is achievable, it is possible, if we have the will. I want to appeal to the conscience of the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. As a politician, election is about 5 months away. We cannot continue this way. In any case, ASUU members have always been the one conducting our elections.
Even the one that will declare who passed.
They are the ones who will supervise the election and declare winners and the rest of them. So they are critical stakeholders in this nation. Their salaries should be paid, and the salaries of other unions, the NASU, the other unions in the university, and then these distinguished scholars should be brought to the negotiation table and then assure them by releasing the first tranche of money, not promises of June next year. That one won't fly anywhere. Our students, our children should be allowed to return to school as quickly as possible. This is Nigeria, the most populous black nation on this planet. We can do it. We have we can spirit. The money is there. Nigeria is a very rich nation. It is our priority that we have not been able to set right. And I think I agree with ASUU that education should be on the priority list of any responsible government.
Before I let you go, comrade.
But please let me quickly drop this. Each university, prof, and I know you know this, you generate money. Students are paying. Government is saying you should make returns of what you are generating. The account should be balanced. Let us know what is coming into you. So many of our universities do not declare what they generate. It is colossal. It is huge.
All right.
Those ones should be put together to address some of your concerns.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, comrade, we want to cost home now, but I would just give you 1 minute to share your thoughts.
Okay.
In a final time, as you bring this to a close.
Let it be clear, and I will not come here and tell lies to the public. The federal government, through the Ministry of Finance, knows every cupboard that comes into the university, including all the IGR, because government operates every single account. Yes. So federal government knows. Government is just making propaganda. They don't know what is happening. And by the law, every 100 naira that comes to every university, federal government takes 25 naira, or 20% of all IGR goes to the coffers of the federal government. By default, from the central bank account of each university, once anything comes, then goes to the coffers of the federal government. The 75% cannot be spent without getting approval from relevant agencies of government, also in Abuja, Ministry of Finance, National University Commission, and the Central Bank. So it is not true, and not only the day-to-day running of that, as well as administration of funds, is also managed by the governing council that are appointed by the same federal government. All right. So if it is fraud in the university, it is fraud from people at the head of affairs at the federal government level. So universities that are in the purview of government. The last one, well, I would say that the two people have said we should come to the table. ASUU is ready with anybody. Just like, I mean, the invitation to this program came to me less than 24 hours, and I obliged. That is the way the union runs. We will never run away from meetings or discussions with anybody to resolve the issue. The union is ready to resolve the issue as soon as possible. The Honorable said within 2-3 weeks. It can be done within a week if there is the willingness to do what is right. And ASUU is willing
All right.
to get all the problems solved without any implication.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me also thank you for joining us. We just notify you within less than 24 hours, and you join the conversation. And also, let me thank my studio guest, Barrister Ojoye, and Honorable Kayo Folu Binride.
Thank you very much.
And also, I want to
Thank
thank all our viewers who are watching all over the world. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Let me quickly drop to you that we've been able to establish today that the federal government should not come to ASUU with cheap talk. Come with sincerity. Until when I meet you again on this show, God bless Nigeria and God bless you.